Well, here we are again. Playing more from the depths because that's where the brain worms are recently, I guess. Probably not going to do a particularly long stream tonight because I'm kind of tired and I do work in the morning tomorrow. But we're gonna mess around for a little bit, see if we can't cause some problems. And I just go from there, really. I don't really feel like working on that hovercraft right now. So I think we're gonna go straight back to where we left off last night, which is messing with this boat. I think that is the master plan for right now. And one of the big things that really needs to be done is we need to pretty much just rebuild all of the weapons. And frankly, we need to do more than just that, but we need to rebuild the particle cannon first and foremost, so that's a little bit more space efficient now that I know how they work. I might as well rebuild this cram cannon as well, for good measures. I'm probably going to scrap these side cannons altogether, because they're a little dumb. Really, the only thing I'm happy with on here is the missiles. The missiles work fine. They do their job a-okay. But for now, no remorse. We're just gonna straight up axe this. Start over, scratch with it. Because I think that's the best way to go about it. Because, right, I mean, look at this. This is nowhere near space efficient. Or really logical whatsoever. So let's give ourselves some constraints to work with. In the form of an actual tap for space. And I want this to just be 3x3. I think we can get away with that. So what we're gonna do, just swap this around to 3-meter beams. Do that, that and that. So that gives us 3 meters that way, 3 meters that way, 4 meters that way. Okay. So we need to come in one more on this side, and that should be right? Yeah, and actually we can go in an entire block further here. Because I want the hole to be smaller than this. So that should be fine. That should work for our purposes. And also, well, I mean, there's so much we need to do to fix this up. Like, have an actual ammo storage and not whatever is going on underneath the boat here. We need more armor and better armor. And generally, we just, there are so many things that we need to make better here. We also need to replace this with an actual local weapon controller. Well, let's see what we can do here. My brain is blanking on what block we're looking for. We're looking for this. And we're not even gonna have this here. We're gonna move this back to here. And then we go over here. Sub-objects mode. No, we don't want to load a sub-object. We want a new sub-object. Now we are just going to do a 3-meter turret, which means we put the local weapon controller a block too far back, and that's okay. Also, wow, that was unnecessarily loud. I don't know what the deal was with that. But next order of business, I'm not sure entirely if I'm going to be able to make this symmetrical or not. We might be able to, but I don't know how good it will be. But what we want to do here is do some particle cannon shenanigans. Pretty much exactly what we had going before, but, you know, marginally better. Let's just sort of go off of what we had going before, which was like this. Yep, that looks right. Then we have the corner piece, and then a couple of forward pieces, like so. And that is roughly what we had going last time. So the next order of business is to utilize the space we have down here to make it a little bit more efficient. And I think that's where mirror mode needs to come off. So once we're down underneath here, we tube. Well, that's not what I wanted. Let's just put a metal block here to hold everything in place for the time being. And then we can get rid of it later. Which also makes me aware of the fact that we have 2-meter and 3-meter particle tubes, so I don't need to be using individual blocks. Good to know. Which means gotta get rid of all of this to fix it. Use a 3-meter tube there. It's always good practice to use beams of blocks instead of individual blocks when you can get away with it. Which, in this case, we can. So let's see what we can do here. I think pretty much this is the best that we're going to get right now. Like, yeah, there is more space down here that I can work with, but I would like to try and keep this compact. At least relatively, you know. Then we're just going to mirror the same thing on over to the other side. So we're going to make this a 2-meter tube, just to make the beam gods happy. And pretty much the same general idea here. Put terminator on the end. There we go. And this one has a little bit more room to play with than the other ones will. So it'll be a little bit better statistically than the previous turrets were. And that's okay. Actually, what we can do is just kind of spaghetti this one back up here since we have extra room to work with it. And then just put the terminator there. And suddenly, we have one that does a lot more damage than the rest. But honestly, as long as they all have the same charge time, which it looks like they do, I'm pretty much alright with that. Let's see. 12 meters long versus 17 meters long. You know how we could add some extra meters to this is by undoing that and doing a little bit of this because we can get away with that. And that should take us up to 17 meters, I believe. 14 meters, so we still need a little bit more, which we can achieve down here if we decide to widen up the base of this a little bit, which I am okay with doing. So let's just go ahead and do that. Or 11 meters, 12 meters, 13 meters, 14 meters, 15 meters, 16 meters, 17 meters. Terminator. And now, just like that, takes up a little bit more space than we need it to down here. But they should all be identical statistically now. And they're not. Why not? Because they're 18 meters instead of 17 meters. Because I guess the Terminator counts as a meter block for this. Which, good to know. In that case, what we can do is do that. And then terminate it. Like so. And now they are all statistically identical. So that's what we were going for. Now it's just a matter of armoring it up. And voila, pretty much. We've achieved our goals. Then it's just a matter of building a decent looking turret cap for it, which shouldn't be all too difficult. I think anything, honestly, would look better than what it used to look like. So 4-meter beams on either side, just for the sake of keeping it even with its rotation point, and plus we can give it extra armor that way. So what I'm thinking is just a little something simple like this. I think that will suit our purposes just fine. I mean, it's not particularly fancy, but it is something that will work. One way or another. And I think that's decent enough. Then we just add some inverted corners on it randomly for texture. And there you go. You got a turret. In some capacity or another. Albeit a very blocky one, but one nonetheless. Actually, let's get rid of that. We're gonna adjust this a little bit, because I want to do that. Unless we do it like this, and then like that. And that sort of works. So get rid of that. So we can do this. That sort of works. That's something. It's overwhelmingly alright. But more importantly, it's an improvement over what it used to be. And that alone is a good thing in my book. Honestly, we can kind of just repeat what we have going on in the back here at the front. Just for good measure. Why not? Yeah, that should be fine enough. We'll go with that for the time being. So next big order of business, once I reconnect the local weapon controller, uh-oh, get rid of that. Not what we wanted. So fix the local weapon controller so it's actually connected. There we go. And then the wireless receiver. I'm not sure which channel the AI is for the particle turret. So I need to find the various AI in here. What are you? You are the driving AI. So that's not the one I need. You are the missile AI, so you're not what I need. What I need is the AI for the particle cannon. Oh, that ain't good. That's the cannon AI. So the particle cannon AI should be you. And you are on channel 4. Okay. That's what we want to know. So receiver, channel 4. And let's see how this does. We'll throw down a pat or a marauder over there, as we tend to do for these testing purposes and all that jazz. How are we doing in terms of damage? Not bad. I don't remember what I had the particle cannon set to last time, but it seems to me like it's doing a decent job. I think the rate of fire is a little bit lower than it used to be, but I reckon it's doing pretty decent damage. At least when it's actually able to hit things, it's doing decent enough damage. Of course, that is always a big if. It's not doing as good as the old particle cannon was. But it works. It shoots decent enough. I don't think the power draw is too horrendous. Power use 1440. Yeah, power use is really not that bad on it. So I guess the big question is what damage type is it using? Because that might help us narrow things down here. It's using impact. Let's change them to piercing, and piercing would probably be better. Let's see about that now. Does that work better? A little bit. That's a little bit of an improvement. I think that works well enough for me. And of course, we can, in theory, turn down the fire rate to make it charge even more. Let's turn it up to 12.5 seconds and see how that does in terms of damage. I reckon that's a bit better. They're shooting out of sync from each other now, which isn't great. But it does seem like that extra 2.5 seconds of charge time actually is kind of worth the extra damage. Let's do that, and then let's overclock it maybe. Let's go to 1.5. We can afford that. Well, it then immediately proceeded to miss. But I think it looks good. I think the extra damage is roughly what we're going for. Does increasing the overclock decrease the accuracy? I know it reduces energy efficiency, but it looks like it's missing more now. Unless it's aiming at something specific, which it's probably aiming at the weapons, which is fair enough. I would call this generally an improvement. And synchronization. Let's synchronize all these together. And synchronization. There we go. So now they should all sync together and fire together again. Yep, there we go. That's what we were going for. Yeah, I reckon that's pretty good to me. Let's try it against an Onyx Watt chip and see how it does against metal stuff. And further away metal stuff at that. Though it is rapidly approaching our location. Did a little bit of damage. Messing it up a little bit internally. I'm almost thinking maybe we should turn up the overclock some more and then increase the range. That might help it a little bit. It's not super damaging, but it works. It's evidently messing some stuff up in here. I just can't quite tell what. Well, it's gone through the cram cannon, so that's something. I also think part of the issue is that sometimes shooting underwater, which isn't great. So I guess what we should do real quick is let's set it back to impact and see if impact works better. Well, that looked pretty good. Maybe impact is better for what we're doing. Impact seems to be chunking it apart a little bit better. Yeah, let's go with impact. I reckon that's generally pretty alright. And still the cram cannon misses even a nearly point blank shot, which I'm not the biggest fan of. And also apparently we're going to try and ram it, which it also should not be doing. We have a little bit of work to be doing here on this. Because this should be a decently long-range craft. We should not be getting this close to enemies. We are chipping away at it slowly but surely, but I don't like how close we are. So it's an improvement. Which is generally what we've been saying, is, you know, every little bit is an improvement. Now the first thing I want to do while we're here, though, is now that we have compacted this down into a bit of a smaller compartment, what I want to do is armor this up. Because we have done a woeful lack of armoring things lately with our builds. So this should be an improvement. That heavy armor, however, is too heavy. Good to know. What we're going to do here is then line this with wood. To A, hopefully help counterbalance things a bit, and B, add some extra armor. That said, it looks like the wood is not helping that much. So I might need to get rid of that heavy armor and just go with metal instead. Which is fair enough. Let's just go ahead and do that. How do I feel about that little boat? Are we still sinking? We are still sinking. Not wonderful. Though we can go ahead and put an air pump in here real quick. Like so. That helps a little bit, but still not great. We should not be having any part of the deck underwater. So let's see what we can do about that. We can put air pumps in these little rooms. That'll help a little bit. But still really not great. Oh, you know, this room doesn't have an air pump in it now. Fix that real quick. And then there should be one on this side. Yep. So we still need to work on the buoyancy. This is still not great. Also, these RTGs are really not necessary. Let's get rid of those, and then let's do another layer of wood here. Just as a little bit, again, extra... little bit extra floaty ability. Little bit extra armor, so if the outside layer gets breached, it's not a complete hull breach. Etc., etc. Now we have another space we need to put air pumps into. That's really anything we can do to get this front half of the boat out of the water that doesn't depend on using spin block, or not spin blocks, using propellers. Because that's kind of a big goal here, is not having to depend on propellers to do things for us. And what we'll do is get rid of these air pumps and put another layer of wood in here. Because really, any extra reinforcement we can get at this point is a good thing. So that's a little bit of an improvement. We can line some wood up against here as well. Really, we're just going to try and add as much buoyancy to this thing as possible. Whatever we can squeak away with. And also, of course, we did decide to get rid of these turrets after all, so let's do that while we're here. Just get rid of them once and for all. Because we're going nowhere fast with this. I accidentally deleted the water pump in here, but that's okay. Just generally, we want to get rid of these cannons. There are probably better things that we could be doing here. Like countermeasures, or more armor, you know. Literally anything than what we've got going here right now. Well, let's take care of that. Let's do a metal beam. Then an alloy beam. Complete the have a little flotation room. That's something. We just are not buoyant enough. Which, of course, is fixable. This air pump right here is not accomplishing anything, so let's get rid of that. And let's put it over here. That should be a little bit more effective for us. Still, it would be nice to have our center of buoyancy a little bit higher. We have this going back here. Do we have one in here? We do. Which is good. I don't think a second one would help. Yeah, so this is a duplicate pump, so that's fine. Not too much more in here we can really do about this, unfortunately. I really don't want to have to depend on trying to do PIDs to make the boat float, though. That's kind of lame. This should be covering all of this room. You know what? We can just put a whole layer of wood in here. Why not? That should help make things float. And also, add a little bit more armor in here. A very negligible amount, but a little bit. And of course, this will, in theory, floaty our boaty a little bit better. In practice, maybe not so much. It's still sinking just a little bit. But, I also don't think that this boat needs 4 million battery power. So let's just get rid of all of the batteries in this room, honestly. Let's scrap this entire room and see if we can't save some weight that way. Just get rid of all of the batteries. And the electric engine. How's that? We are now floating again. So it looks like getting rid of the batteries did help a bit, which is good. You are... Well, both of you are actually AI. So it would be beneficial of me to protect this a little bit better. Let's do that. Put another air pump in here. And then let's put some surge protectors in here. Why not? Actually, let's line this with wood some more and then do surge protectors. would you believe it, if we're putting down more air pumps. I also am not entirely sure where surge protectors are, unless they're in countermeasures. Um, they're not. Are they normal blocks? They are. There we go. Yep. So we can put some of these in here. Not much. I don't think a lot is necessary. But a little bit can help in a pinch. Just like that, though, we're back to sinking again, though. Which is not great. But only barely. Do we have more batteries in here we have to get rid of? I could have swore I just saw one. Oh, no, these are repair bots. Never mind, don't gotta kill those. And I guess we can slap some surge protectors in here. So something that we do need to do, now that I think about it, is the AI needs more processing power for the detection systems. Where in this tiny little boat do I want to try and cram that? Of course, we do have that little bit of free space in here now, but I don't entirely want to put it in there. Is there some free space in here? There is. So I could do it in here. I mean, that's extraordinarily unnecessary, but I could. Unless I have some free space, like, back in here, maybe. I do. What I could do is AI connector receiver, and then connectors through here, and processing cards. And that does kind of remind me, all of our detection equipment on the ship is all crammed right up here. That's not great. We should fix that. And one of the easiest ways I find to improve on that a little bit is to just slap one on a gun, like so. So let's do that. AI connector wireless receiver. Make sure we get it oriented the right way. Plonk it on down here. And then I like putting coincidence rangefinders on top of my turrets. So just like that, we have a little bit more tracking to work with. And the reason I do that is because I wanted to test something earlier, so I went to our config and I turned automatic detection accuracy on. We need to turn that back off because we're not actually going to play the game with that on. So let's see how well we can hit an opponent now that it's turned off. We're going to spawn it decently far away. Probably just a Marauder again. All of the AI on. Let's see how well we can hit things. We hit with the missiles, so that's a good start. We hit with the particle cannon. So that is also good. Will we hit with the cram cannon? Yes. So the detection on this thing is not that bad, which is good to say. It can sufficiently hit targets from a decent distance. The cram cannon still... I wish it was a little bit more accurate. It's like my biggest hang-up on it right now is that the cram cannon is missing a lot more than I would like it to. It only hits about 60% of the shots it takes, which just really is not a great ratio. And also, we're just going to apparently decide to ram the Marauder. Why? I don't know, because AI is dumb. I think that's a safe conclusion to make. So I think that's the next order of business here, is tweak the AI to not do what it's doing. Because I'm not the biggest fan of that. Let's go in here. Go down to our navigation AI, which should be this one, I think. No, this is the missile AI. Where's our... Oh, the AI I'm looking for is back here. Because this is the one with all of the processing cards on it. Somewhere in here. There it is. So, let's see here. Um, can be stationary. We can reverse. Let's turn this up. Yeah, avoid all vehicles. I mean, that obviously doesn't help considering we rammed the Marauder a minute ago. That should be fine. And that should be fine. So hopefully we will actually try to stay further away from enemies than we were before. So let's find out. Off to a good shot, missed all of our shots on the initial volley, which isn't super great. But it is hitting shots. I mean, the EMP is kind of wasted on a wooden target. I don't know why we're still driving towards it. We're still just driving straight towards it. Like, I want you to be far away, not doing this. And now we're just going to completely be exposed to it. Like, I don't understand what the AI tries to do sometimes. It does not make sense to me. Also, we've lost our cram cannon because we need to set fire constraints on it. Like, what is this? We're going straight towards it again. Why? I don't want that. And I guess the other big question is, can this actually do anything against a larger target? Let's just throw a Calmar on it. See what it does there. Anything useful? Probably not, but we'll see. It looks like the missiles are just a combination of every warhead, which really is not that great. Generally, it's good practice to be specialized in at least something, and not just having a little bit of everything strapped onto there. But the detection on it works at least, which is good to know, because that was something I was kind of concerned by. So we're getting way too close to enemies for no good reason. It should not be doing anything close to getting this close to it. So we have a lot more we need to look at there, because that's a massive problem. A massive, frustrating problem with that, because there's no reason for the AI to be behaving like this. But at least we can say decently confidently that we can beat a Kalmar when the boat is doing what it should be programmed to do and not just being dumb. But there's pretty much nothing left here. Why, oh, why do you behave like this, boat?
Listening.
That's not what, that's not the card I want on it. This is the card I want. So let's just turn this up to some crazy high distance and see if that does anything that helps us. Um, so maybe that'll work. Possibly, maybe, hopefully. Let's try this and see if it actually tries and makes a point of staying far away from the bad guys, like I'm trying to get it to do. We can hope. We can pray. Woo boat. Woo boat indeed. Boat is being frustrating at best. It does not want to do what I tell it to do. And I don't understand why. Which can be said a lot about From the Depths as a whole. But like, I don't get it.
Listening.
Like, it annoys me enough that it almost makes me want to turn the debugging tools on to see what exactly it's trying to do. Because right now all it's doing is being useless. Frustratingly so at that. So that's not working. Can't we tell this to be way up here? So let's try something like this. Since apparently it decided that it wanted to be applied incorrectly, I guess. I don't know. Who knows at this rate? So it should be trying to broadside it at this rate. Because I know that this is closer than 1,000 meters. So I don't know what the deal is. Or why it's doing the things that it decides to do. But it is irritating. And just like that, we immediately find it just trying to run away again, inexplicably. The only thing I can really guess is that the Kalmar, which is a paddle boat, somehow goes faster than this thing does. And so it can't maintain the broadside because it's just too slow. I don't entirely know at this point. But it's getting us nowhere quickly. The old AI at least kept the guns pointed at it, which this is not doing. So I guess we just need to stick with something akin to what we've got going now. We'll give this a try, we'll see what happens. Not sure why the particle cannon is deciding not to shoot at all now. When it clearly is able to. I just don't get it sometimes. I fix one thing and 5 other things break. But I'm gonna say screw it and not worry about it tonight. I have work in the morning. I'm going to bed. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see y'all later.